Nearly a decade in the making. Let's talk. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, April 21st, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Like I said in the cold open, it's been nearly a decade since we saw Dead Island 2, probably put on hiatus a long time ago, but now it is finally launched after a couple delays. I think one or two delays. Yeah, it launched this week. The Metacritic is currently at 74, so take that with a grain of salt. I don't know that it's going to revolutionize, at least from what I've seen from the reviews and watching before you buy. I don't think it's going to revolutionize like zombie combat or anything like that. I think people familiar with the Dead Island franchise is going to get what the game is. But all I'm kind of expecting to get out of it is running around in LA and killing zombies. I will be excited to see how the co-op plays. I know it plays up to 3 players in co-op, so I'm looking maybe for another game that I can play with my wife. And that might be fun, running around LA as we both live in LA, killing zombies. So I'm very curious to see. I will be playing this next week, so looking forward to playing that. But if you have started already playing, let me know what you think down below in the comments. There was a Nintendo Indie Showcase, and I'm usually very excited and upbeat about the Indie Showcases. We usually get to see a lot more games that I'm excited about. But this one wasn't really for me, or at least the title. There was only 1 or 2 titles that caught my eye, and so yeah, I'm usually a lot more positive on the Indie Showcases than I am on kind of a Nintendo Direct. As this one only had Rift of the Necromancer that caught my eye, I'm very excited for any more content or information I could play with Rift of the Necromancer, the sequel to Crypt of the Necromancer. The Cult of the Lamb DLC, which kind of caught my eye, but I would more likely play that on my Steam Deck rather than Nintendo Switch, because in my Friend Zone review, both my friends playing on Steam or on the Switch said it couldn't really handle some of the processing and it started to lag when too many enemies got on the computer, on the screen. Same with like Dreamlight Valley when my wife was playing that versus me playing on the Steam Deck. She had like longer load times, and so kind of showing its age a little bit. And I digress a little, but I am excited for Cult of the Lamb DLC, so excited to see that. And then as a avid board gamer, probably something that most people kind of wrote off, but the Calico board game kind of version on Steam or on Twitch, on the Switch, kind of caught my eye as well. So those were kind of really all I kind of caught my eye and were interested in coming out of the indies. I know there was a couple surprise releases that people were excited for, but those were the ones that caught my eye. What did catch my eye this week and normally doesn't is the Street Fighter 6 showcase. We got like 20 to 30 minutes of what it's going to be like in Street Fighter 6. They were showing off some of the accessibility features, which I thought were pretty cool, like sound-based proximity. So hopefully that helps some people play the game that normally wouldn't. They also talked about ranked mode, where you can do ranked matches and play and compete. And I know that's why a lot of people pick up Street Fighter, is to compete in high-class quality tournaments and stuff like that. So I bet a lot of people were excited for that. The thing that caught my eye was like the semi-open world gameplay. It looked like my closest facsimile I have is a Yakuza game. Like you like approach someone on the streets and then you like start a fight with these people, like a street fight with them, and it goes from like third person to all of a sudden the like 2-dimensional kind of fighter that you would expect from Street Fighter. But totally kind of just kind of blew me out of the water. I'm just kind of curious what that's going to be like. I might actually pick up Street Fighter 6, which will be weird because I'll be playing Diablo at the time it launches. But yeah, I'm pretty curious what that's going to look like, and hopefully that leads to, I know that if anybody's been as an avid follower of the crypt mode within Mortal Kombat, I have a funny feeling that Ed Boon will take some of this information and use it to maybe make a Mortal Kombat game, which I would be very excited for, that maybe plays a little bit more like a third-person open world and then turns into the 2D fighter that you know and love. So, hopefully they, I'm looking forward to what Mortal Kombat could potentially do with what Street Fighter is proving out, as history is often proven. Street Fighter sets the groundwork, and Mortal Kombat steps on its shoulders and profits. But I digress. Speaking of Warner Brothers games, you might have noticed that anybody who played Hogwarts Legacy, there was a distinct lack of Quidditch, but that is being remedied as there's an actual full-blown Quidditch game coming out. Why put it into one ultra successful game when you can spin it off into its own game? So I know that a lot of people were anticipating Quidditch and looking forward to it. And I'm pretty curious to see what they do with Quidditch Champions. It was announced this week. They announced a playtest coming up in the next couple months, so they're still in the playtesting phase. I don't know if this was geared towards coming out this year. If they're still playtesting it in like the middle of the year, I doubt it's going to be a this year launch. Maybe it's a Q1 launch next year, but pretty curious to see what they do with Quidditch. And I know that a lot of people have been, how do you interpret Quidditch? How does the snitch work? Considering in the movies and books, it was always very overpowered as far as game balance would work. So I'm pretty curious what they can kind of do with the Quidditch game. But excited for that. So let me know if you are too down below. We've talked I literally just mentioned Diablo, and there was some pretty cool news this week. There's what they're calling a server slam. They are testing their servers, and I found the timing a little interesting. It is happening during Nintendo Breath of the Wild's launch week, or Breath of the Wild 2 Tears of the Kingdom, during their launch week, which I was very curious. A lot of people were kind of testing Mortal Kombat, or not Mortal Kombat. A lot of people are testing Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda. So I'll have another news article about this later. But I find it really interesting that they're testing their servers on Tears of the Kingdom launch week, which is a couple weeks before their launch. So I don't read too much into it. Also, they announced this week that they've gone gold. So we're locked in for early June. But yeah, I'm curious. A, the timing, and B, whether or not this will help them. I'm pretty sure, as an avid Blizzard player, I'm pretty sure we'll still get server login queues, regardless of how much they test the servers. But hopefully they're up and running and don't have to actually go down, which is quite often happens with Blizzard games. But hopefully that goes well. But I'll be playing Tears of the Kingdom, so won't be able to hop into that. Read a really cool article, think piece this week, talking about it's still continuing the conversation about live service games. I know I talked about it a couple weeks ago there was just kind of a big culling of live service games, with Rumbleverse and Multiverse is going offline, like a couple of those live service games. So read an article talking about hey, maybe we need full price multiplayer games again, so that you have an avid fan base, and they've already given the producers the developers their money, the publishers their money, and so they can kind of keep the service alive longer and longer, which I thought was pretty interesting. I mean, it's proven out Call of Duty, while also having a free-to-play mode, also still produces a $70 game mostly every year, not this year. So the full price multiplayer still kind of works. I know that everyone's trying to replicate the Fortnite Battle Pass model, but I don't think a lot of teams have the production pipeline for that, and a lot of teams don't have, aren't willing to risk the amount of money you could lose on this developing a live service game, and it takes a lot of faith, and there's a lot of risk associated with trying to make your money back on battle passes. So I thought it was a pretty cool article. I'll have a link down below for you to read as well. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. We got to know a little bit more about the upcoming Gollum game. I've talked about it every week for 2 or 3 weeks, so you can tell I'm excited. The collector's edition I think it's more of like a digital deluxe. The digital deluxe edition of Gollum will be called the Precious Edition, which whichever associate brand manager thought of that should probably be paid a little bit more. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. I thought the naming was funny, and as part of the kind of extra DLC content, they announced a Elven language pack. You'll be able to actually hear voice actors reading to you in the Elvish language. Sindarin for those deep Tolkien nerds. Is one of the Elven languages that Tolkien had invented, and from what I read in a couple articles, they're putting it behind a paywall, which I got a little controversial. But they had to train people. It took money to train people to speak Tolkien's languages. So I thought it was pretty funny that uh, you know that's where they're trying to recoup the money it costs to make VO artists, voice actors, um, speak Tolkien, Tolkien Elvish, which I thought was pretty funny. So I'll be excited to play Gollum in Elvish in just a few. There was a semi-controversial game that took the gaming sphere by storm this week. It was called Unrecord, and it had very very hyper realistic simulated body cam footage. So realistic that people thought it was like real, that someone actually did, went through the body cam footage and actually shooting or something like that. And the developer had to go on record and say like, "Hey, watch me. I can like move the camera around. I can play through the whole like." They had the whole setup, and it looked so hyper realistic of just this like rundown like factory facility. And yeah, it even caught me off guard. Like I totally thought that like someone just like I don't know, like just blurred out or was actually just taking body cam footage and then calling it a game. Like that's actually what I thought when I first saw it. So a lot of people were kind of debating like, is this real? Is it not? How do we prove it? And so the developer went on record and said like, hey, this is what the world looks like. Here, I can jump around, I can clip through the walls, but this was all hyper realistic ray tracing in Unreal Engine. So kudos to the developer for making it look that good. Kudos to the Unreal Engine for making it look that good. So yeah, and it's got its own Steam page. You can go pre-order or wishlist the game on there. So yeah, if you want some hyper realistic like body cam footage shooter, you can go check out Unrecord. I'll have a link down below in the description. Dead Island wasn't the only game that launched this week. We had another Riot Forge game. All of these kind of like League of Legends stories have had very minimal like marketing campaigns, and so it was really surprised. I hadn't heard of this until PAX East, so it's only been a few short weeks from when I heard about it, and it's not even the ones that we knew about for the last couple of years. This one's called Mage Seeker. It's about the character Silas, which I'm not familiar with in the League of Legends story because I have fallen off. But yeah, it came out this week. It's like a I think it's an isometric kind of action RPG. It's got an 82 Metacritic, so it's reviewing pretty decently well. The art style is a little bit, not. It's very like 8-bit. Like it just doesn't jive with me. It doesn't click with me. But I could see a lot of League of Legends fans being very interested in playing through this character story. So launched this week and wanted to talk about it. Last but not least, like I was saying earlier about titles not caring about Tears of the Kingdom, which I think is going to sell gangbusters, and I think a lot of games should be pretty nervous in the May launch window. But there's a PlayStation exclusive game called Humanity, and you are playing as like a dog and trying to lead humans through like a Lemmings-like game. So you're just trying to lead them and then command them to do jumps or pushes so they can like move through this like trapped world and try and puzzle your way through saving as many human lives as possible as this kind of omnipotent dog. Yeah, it's a pretty weird concept, and it's a PlayStation exclusive launching on May 16th. Which again, I would highly advise anybody to kind of any games to watch out for Tears of the Kingdom because I think I know that not every PlayStation owner also owns a Switch, so maybe it's not that much cross pollination, but I do think there's a lot of dual platforms in the household. So yeah, I would be very concerned for this game launching the same week as Tears of the Kingdom. So. But if you're a PlayStation fan and looking for a new PlayStation game and don't own a Switch, you could be playing a Lemmings-like called Humanity, coming out in just a few short weeks on May 16th. But that's it for this week. Let me know if you feel I forgot anything down below. Always happy to talk down in the comments or on my Discord about anything gaming news or gaming related. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you do, please follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. I'll have links down below in the description. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!